What if I told you the one thing your husband craves in your marriage isn't what you might think? Spoiler alert, it's not love, but something even deeper. You say, well, oh, I know what that is. And I think it starts with an S. Well, wrong again. You're going to hear what that is in a few moments. So don't get ahead of me. Don't try to think, well, what that is. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you. We often think men crave affection, physical touch, or appreciation. And while those are important, there's something else that truly fills his heart and keeps him connected to you. If you've ever wondered what your husband really needs, stick around because today we're diving into the unexpected answer. Now, in today's video, I'll reveal the one thing your husband deeply craves and how understanding this can transform your marriage in ways you've never imagined. Hey, I'm Kingsley Grant, and welcome to Building Happier Marriages, the channel where I help wives like yourself of entrepreneurial husbands create deeper connections and happier relationships. If that sounds like something you need, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out. Now, I also want to ask you to stick around until the end, where I'll share a special way you can take your marriage to the next level. Now, the number one thing your husband craves, are you ready for that? Is this a drum roll moment? Well, the number one thing he craves is start with an R. Okay, so Kingsley, come on, spill it out. Tell me. And you may have guessed it by now. Is respect. Well, you say, oh, I got that from the very beginning. Well, I didn't. You didn't tell me that. You didn't type that in the chat, in the comment section. If you had typed it in the comment section, well, I should have asked you to do that and see the time that you typed that in. Well, it's respect. Now, the number one thing your husband craves, as I mentioned, this idea of respect is not maybe the way you have seen it or done it, and we are going to unpack that in this video. It's not just admiration or compliments, because some people think that's the way they respect their husband. And that is one of the ways, and that may be true to some regards, but a sense that you trust him, believe in him, and honor the man he is becoming. That is what respect looks like to your husband. And you're going to see more as I get into more practical ways that that's done in this episode. This video. I say episode because, again, I have a podcast that's called Build Your Happier Marriage. And sometimes I'm recording on the same day. And so I'll say episode because I just recorded the podcast episode. And if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go and check out my podcast. It's buildyourhappiermarriage.com/podcast. And you can access and watch it on any platform, Spotify and Apple, you name it. You can find it wherever you get your podcast. You can find my podcast there as well. The scripture says in Ephesians 5, verse 33, it says, each one of you must love his wife as he loves himself. I'm sure you're probably saying, I hope, honey, you say, honey, are you listening? Are you listening? Well, I hope you have him close by you, or you'll tell him that. But don't stop there, because it didn't stop there. It went on. It says, and the wife must respect her husband. God's design for marriage highlights respect as the key for husbands. It's not just a desire. Sometimes people think, oh, he just desires to be respected. No, it's a need. And that's why God said, you as a wife must respect your husband, because he needs that. He needs that. It's something very, very important for his, I wouldn't say his existence, but in a sense, yes, to some degree, for him to show up as you want him to in the marriage. Now, for your husband, respect is tied to his sense of identity and purpose. It's about feeling trusted, feeling believed in, and seen as capable. You may be thinking, well, what if my husband is not that? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can treat him and respect him as if he is. Because sometimes it's when you act that way, he rises to the occasion. When he feels respected, it's like fuel for his soul. He'll go above and beyond to meet your needs. And that's why I believe sometimes you may not be getting that which you're looking for because there might be disrespect happening in the relationship and probably you're not doing it intentionally. And that's why I'm doing this video because I think sometimes it's not that you as a wife is intentionally disrespecting your husband, but it does come across, it does happen that way. It's as if I stepped on your toes unintentionally, whether I intended to or not. The fact is, your toes were stepped on, and I need to apologize once you bring that to my attention. So your toes hurt, whether it was intended or not. So the impact of it is real. So whether you intend to or intentional or non-intentional, it is what he experiences. You know, I had a client who said her husband just wasn't responding to her anymore, no matter how much she tried. And when we began to unpack and when we uncovered it, the issue wasn't love. It was that he felt disrespected in subtle ways. And I realized it wasn't all her fault because she did not know how else to show him respect. And I hope that you're going to find out today in this video, you're discovering that for yourself. Once she shifted, when I, coach her through the process and bring some things up for her, and once she shifted her approach, he became more present and engaged. See, respect more than any other quality has the power to transform a marriage quickly and effectively. It's a biblical principle, as you heard earlier, and when applied, it can bring the peace and the intimacy you've been seeking. Now, there are some things you can do in a practical manner. So how to show respect in a way that matters to him. Respect isn't about being a doormat or ignoring your needs, because sometimes when a wife hears this, she immediately thinks that it's about somehow she should put aside her own needs. No, if you've been watching my videos, you have heard me underscore the importance of a husband making certain that he does not ignore his wife's needs, because many times that's the reason why she is acting the way she does. So respect isn't about being a doormat or ignoring your needs. It's about speaking to him in a way that shows you believe in him. That means watching your tone, being mindful of the choice of words that you use, and making sure your actions back up your trust. Now, here are some examples of what that might look like. Praise his efforts, even the small ones. When you notice what he's doing well, he feels respected and seen. So instead of just focusing on what he hasn't done, what about acknowledging the things he's working hard on, that he's doing? Sometimes it's those small things when you're able to mention and acknowledge those things that he feels motivated and he feels, like I said before, fuel to his tank, that he may want to do more as well. Here is a very, very important and a big one. Avoid criticism in public. Correcting or criticizing your husband in front of others, whether it's friends or family members or in-laws or whoever, or children, correcting or criticizing him in front of any of those that I've just mentioned, or wherever it is, even jokingly, can make him feel disrespected. Speak to his potential. When you highlight his strengths and remind him of the great things he is capable of, you're feeding his desire for respect. And you may say, well, I don't want to be the one. I don't want to do that. Well, maybe the reason you're having the relationship you're having is not because your husband doesn't want to, because maybe he's feeling disrespected. Now, how does respect transform your marriage? When you encourage your husband dreams, especially as he's working on his side business and he's putting in crazy hours, right? He every free moment he gets, he wants to be working on this, and which is what gets to you sometimes because you feel like you're competing with that. And I understand because I talk about that in my podcast. I also speak about that in past videos, which I hope you may go back and watch. But when you encourage his dreams and let him know you believe in him, especially when he is stressed or doubting himself, he'll be more likely to open up and connect. It's like you're giving him the green light to let down his guard and be vulnerable with you. So that the more he hears from you, the more of that you're able to do, the more he will be vulnerable because again, he feels safe, he feels encouraged, he feels that you're believing in him, even though you're saying, I do. Sometimes he just needs to be reminded. When you confirm his efforts through those acknowledgments I mentioned, when you confirm his efforts and acknowledge his hard work, you're building a partnership where he feels safe, valued, and supported. I know what might be coming up for you right now. You might be thinking, well, I can imagine that what might be coming up for you right now is, well, what about me? I work hard. I put in long hours and I get that. And I want you to understand that what I'm sharing here with you is not just to make a case for him. I'm making a case for the marriage. I'm making a case for the relationship. I'm making a case for you because I want you to better understand your husband. I want you to have deeper connection with your husband. And I want you to have a happier marriage. And this is what I'm trying to share with you because I'm a husband myself. I'm like your husband. I have a side hustle. I'm building that out, working on that and every free moment. So I know it. And here it is. I've been married as of this video almost 4 decades, 39 years to be exact, as of this recording. So I'm not just making things up, but as again, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of wives like yourself as a licensed marriage and family therapist and a certified relationship coach. I have done the work so personally and professionally. So it's not something I'm just sitting here and making up and just spewing out. No, there are there's a substance behind it. The more he feels respected, the more he will naturally respond with love, attention, and understanding. It's a cycle that builds on itself. Now, might be some objections that are some things that are coming up for you, right? And I want to, speak about this white elephant in the room, so to speak. I want to bring that up. I want to recognize that some of you might be thinking, or you might be thinking, but what about me? As I mentioned earlier, I need love and attention too. And you're absolutely right. You do. But respect is the key that unlock his ability to give you that love in a way that's meaningful to both of you. This isn't about sacrificing your needs. It's about creating an atmosphere, an environment where both of you can thrive. It's where the relationship, the marriage is going to feel rejuvenated and re-energized because of what it is I'm doing here. I'm trying to help you with. Again, I'm on your side. This is for you. This is not just, and if you are hearing some things and feeling some things right now, I would love for you to comment as you're watching this and hit that like button as well. If you're liking some things that I'm saying, you won't agree with everything I'm saying. I know I get it, but listen, it will be something you may want to pray about, um, journal about, do it in your meditation, and really be honest. Step back a little bit from your emotions and not somehow let that drive what's happening as you're listening here. Take some deep breaths and pray and say, is there something here that could be helpful for my marriage? That's what I want to do. I want to help you to do that. Remember, the whole purpose and goal of this video, this channel, is to help you better understand your husband and to help you have a deeper connection with him and also have a happier marriage. Now, if that's not what you want, then of course you're free to do whatever you want to do with this. But I think if that's what you want, and I believe that's why you're here, this is the way to get there. And so if you've not yet subscribed to the channel, would you make sure you hit that subscribe button even right now as we are having this conversation? I would really appreciate that, and share this with at least one other person. So what happened is then when you are able to respect your husband and give him what he craves the most, which is respect, as I mentioned, even if he doesn't always say it. And when you give it to him, you'll see a shift in how he connects with you on every level. And I would love to hear from you if at some point you can come back and let me know in the comment section what's been going on in the relationship. If you've been following me as it is I'm outlining here, Ephesians chapter 4, verse 29 says, do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up. See, when you speak words of respect, you're building him up and ultimately your marriage. This is what's happening for you. So this week, try one of these tips. Find a way to show respect, even in small moments, and watch how your husband responds. Now, if you want to dive deeper into building a stronger, happier marriage, I have a free webinar coming up on Thursday, October 17th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's October 17th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, where I'm going to break down more strategies like this one. So don't miss out. Sign up at the link you'll find in the description below, and you'll see it on the screen as well. You can go to buildyourhappiermarriage.com/webinar, buildyourhappiermarriage.com/webinar, and you can sign up there. Now, here's the thing. On the day of the webinar, I can only host so many people on at one time. So the platform that I'm using is only limited to a certain amount of people, and I want to make sure you're a part of that. If not, you're going to have to be on the wait list for the next time. So make sure you sign up there. And before you go, don't forget, as I mentioned before, to subscribe if you've not yet done so for more tips on building a happier marriage. And if this video helped, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who could use this message, okay? And again, make sure you mark your calendar and register today for the webinar at buildyourhappiermarriage.com/webinar. And it's put the date on your calendar is October 17th, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, let me leave you with a scripture verse that I think is so important, and that is Psalm 127, verse 1, where it says, unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. So let's build stronger, happier marriages together the right way. Now, I want to also remind you that you're just one communication skill away from a happier marriage. One communication skill. So be sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss out on more marriage building content like this one. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless you, and thank you for being here. Blessings.